minute. Who are you?
I'm Steve.
Alright, so I'm currently working on releasing my new Playboy Cardi video where I'm explaining how I feel about the album with my good friend Naoki TV. But today, where I live, the new Minecraft movie came out and I went to go watch it. And that was definitely an experience. So yeah, the Minecraft movie, it's real. The game that defined a generation and somehow made punching trees socially acceptable. A movie about that? Sure, why not? But I will say that I don't think it was that great. Let me explain. So let's start with what was good, because there were some things that I actually appreciated. For example, the visuals were pretty nice. I really liked how the world looked in the movie. It looked clean, it looked polished, it looked so robust. I will say with the human characters, at some points it looked like a really shitty green screen. It looked like something that any YouTuber with a green screen can make. So at some points it felt cheap with the CGI, but at some points it felt great. I liked how it wasn't so hyper realistic and it actually did look like Minecraft on the big screen. The animation did stay loyal to the game's aesthetic, and it felt like a real world in Minecraft. You know, when you opened your first world on Minecraft at the age of 10, when you were trying to build a house before it was nighttime, before the mobs will come fuck you up. Also, while I was watching this, there were a good amount of teenagers that looked 13 to 14 years old, and a good amount of the cringy moments of the movie, they would start clapping violently and pretty much cheering on.
Say it, the thing. I'm Steve.
But there were some references that I really did appreciate. For example, halfway through the movie, you see a pig with a crown, and Steve, or Jack Black, the actor who is playing as Steve, says that that is a legend, obviously referring to Technoblade, which I thought was a very nice reference. I thought that was very honorable, and it's something that a lot of Minecraft fans, especially the ones that are on YouTube, will really appreciate. Rest in peace, Technoblade. Growing up, I was mainly watching Stampy Longhead and didnt. I was also very happy to see that didnt made an appearance in the movie. I like how it wasn't too in your face and that it was quite subtle. I like that, I appreciated that. Also other references, like for example the creepers and the panic of hearing skeletons in a cave, those were actually quite fun, and if you've played the game or you're a fan of the game, you will probably enjoy these references and appreciate them as well. But I will say that the weaknesses are also there. For example, the story. It's like the writers wanted to tell this epic hero's journey, but instead we got a very basic plot. I just don't think the writing was really there. Like, I think that they could have leaned into more of the survival aspect with the sandbox chaos, maybe even show the emotional breakdown of someone who lost all their diamonds in lava. I personally think that was a missed opportunity. I think that was something that would have been really enjoyable. Also, I personally think that the characters were just there. The whole movie, to me, it felt like it just happened, you know, it just happened. There was not much character development. Even Steve, I can tell that Jack Black did put in some effort to try to make Steve a enjoyable and funny character. And if you know anything about movies, or especially Jack Black, you know that usually he's featuring in very goofy movies that are very silly. So he doesn't necessarily have the greatest reputation as an actor, but I wouldn't say that he's a bad actor at all. Steve's character, it felt more like a tutorial guide rather than Steve. When you first load into Minecraft, you're playing as Steve. But in the movie, for some reason, Steve is this big tutorial guide. Like, to a certain extent, I can understand why he had to explain a few things to the humans that came into the world. Like, it felt like he was that NPC that when you start a new game, he's showing you how to play the game and how you progress and become better and how it works. And to me, that's just not how I've ever seen Steve. I've just never seen him like that. But I will say that personally, I do think a lot of fans will be enjoying this movie. I think this movie will be a huge success. I mean, when I was in the theater, it was pretty much full of people. There were so many people that were there watching and enjoying it late at night as well. So it wasn't families, it was a lot of teenagers and a lot of people who I assume are pretty big fans of Minecraft. I think this is something that the Minecraft community will definitely enjoy. I do think that this will be something that's going to be appreciated by the fans, but if you're looking for a movie and not a video game licensed movie, I would say that this is not for you. I think Minecraft fans would enjoy this because it shows Minecraft in a different way. So I completely understand if someone were to say that this is not a bad movie, but I would be a bit surprised if someone were to say that this is a 10 out of 10 because, look, just because it's a kid's movie that is a video game licensed movie does not inherently mean that it has the excuse to be lazily written. Look, it's not a disaster, but it's also not something you're really going to rewatch and revisit a lot unless you're babysitting your little cousin who just discovered what a pickaxe is. As someone who has spent a lot of their time in their childhood playing Minecraft, I personally wanted this to be better. I wasn't expecting this to be perfect or Oscar worthy, but I do think that it could have just been a little better. I wanted to see a chaotic multiplayer mess. I wanted to see a diamond sword duel with actual tension. But I feel like I kind of got a watered down family friendly adventure that played it way too safe. There was even a part where one of the villains of the movie tells Steve that he needs to unalive him rather than saying that he wants to kill him. I didn't know that we started using TikTok terminology in movies. I couldn't help but feel a bit strange about that. I'm not saying that it's bad to use these terms, but it was very unfitting. It felt almost kind of forced. They knew that the children would understand the reference and be like, oh, they talk just like us on TikTok. That means these characters are relatable. So yeah, I wouldn't say that this was an amazing movie. I wouldn't say that this was a horrible movie either. I do think that it had its saving graces, but also it had a few elements that just didn't really work for me. So yeah, I would personally give it a 5 out of 10. So thank you guys for watching. If you've seen the movie, let me know what you thought of it. Don't forget to join the Discord if you want to join conversations about movies or songs or music or random shit.